I have created touchpoints for my 2050 project. It's for multi-generational households to document and present their day to each other. I was excited to be given sharing in communities in 2050. I started looking into celebration, sharing, conflict, and multi-generational living. I then progressed to expanding the year 2050. Upon my research, I found a rather thought-provoking quote by Michael Mann describing 2050. This inspired me to focus on pressures on communities and societies in the future. From here, I started to focus on personal lenses. Lens 1 is Space Wars, looking at how climate change will change our environment in the future as we know it. This creates pressure on societies, and will there be conflict and fighting over this space? Lens 2 is Personal Belongings. With limited resources in 2050, the idea of a personal belonging may have to change and may have to be shared between multiple people. Lens 3 is including the physically disabled community. In 2050, there will be a harsh, changing environment, making it hard for those physically disabled to adapt. Upon forum review reflection, I chose personal belongings as my personal lens. I then started building my 2050 world, focusing on societal, technological, and environmental factors. My 2050 would have harsh changing environments due to climate change, putting pressure on society and having limitations in space and resources. Also, there would be multi-generational living because of the limited space. There would be advancements in technology, including pharmaceuticals, creating an aging population. From here, I started generating ideas of what personal belongings could look like in the future. I then looked at the Solitary Survival Raft by sci-fi designer Lucy McRae. It looks at how we can accommodate the human urge to explore whilst tending to the fear. I found this could relate very nicely to my 2050 scenario and liked how comfort was shown and portrayed. This led me to my 2050 brief. In my year of 2050, the population will be aging, and with limited space, this will lead to multi-generational living. Communal thinking will become an increasingly important factor. The idea of personal belongings will have to change due to a rise in limited resources, meaning that sharing could become a big part of everyday lives in 2050. How can we improve communities in 2050 through communal thinking and sharing of physical possessions? From here, I progressed to ideation. Initial idea 1 is about aging populations and the relationship between grandparents and grandkids. I like the idea of grandparents giving out treats and creating a bond with the younger generation. Idea 2 is water and care, and how the excess water from flooding can be used for water births as a way to be an event in the community to bring people together. Idea 3 is based off of education and society values. How can these 2050 values be taught in the future using games and education? I looked into forest schools, and I liked the concept of building a form that would give back to nature. From here, I focused on aging population and grandparents, how they provide comfort, the fun ideas of them spoiling their grandkids. I then experimented with forms. From my crit, I focused on comfort and how to reignite feelings. I really liked the idea of merging different forms to create a new object that was meaningful for many people. However, I now felt my project didn't just include grandparents and kids, but in fact a whole multi-generational household. I liked objects to create a close bond and connection. It would document daily experiences, be used regularly, could be worn, used as a method of communication, and would document audio and visuals. I liked the idea of a modular form which when combined represented the whole household. This concept included each household owning a small object that is worn as an accessory. This object records audios and visuals of their day, and at the end of the day, they would show each other the recordings. Further development of this concept included the fact that it would be 3D printed and produced by plant-based silicon. The form would be created using a set of coding, which would be built off of a code used in London Design Biennale by Austria. Additionally, the factor of privacy arose, and to help create privacy, the object would be squeezed to pause and resume recording. I then developed the form using Fusion 360. Touchpoint forms a ritual for multi-generational household members, providing a platform to socialise and bond about each other's experiences in their day. Each household member wears a small sculptural object which records their day at their will, and at the end of the day, this object comes together to produce a hologram. It uses up a little amount of space and can be worn by its users as an accessory, such as a necklace or a ring. To create my CAD model, I used Fusion 360 and SolidWorks, and to bring it into the world, I 3D printed it. This form can be taken apart and worn.